Today we're going to talk about, unfortunately, Perrion Winfrey. We're going to get into some DeAndre Hopkins news. Of course, we're going to talk about the new uniforms. So we got a jam-packed episode today.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, John Nye, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast presented by Omaha Steaks. If you want to get your voicemails on the show or just your thoughts, head to thedawgspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail on the drop-down menu. Today we're going to talk about, unfortunately, Perrion Winfrey. We're going to get into some DeAndre Hopkins news. Of course, we're going to talk about the new uniforms. So we got a jam-packed episode today. Before we do, though, I want to remind you to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And apparently we're on Threads now. What is Threads?
I know. I had to figure it out.
Is that like Instagram's Twitter?
Yes.
So we're on Threads for now. I heard like they're getting sued because it's just essentially Twitter. So I don't know. But for now, we're on Threads.
Stay tuned.
So you can find us on there. You can also, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content we're putting out. Potentially some super exciting, very cool new content coming in the next, 4 to 6 weeks. So make sure you got that notification bell tapped. You don't want to miss any of it. If you prefer to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Lastly, if you're looking for more Dogs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. You get to play fantasy football with us. We're quickly approaching the cutoff date for fantasy football leagues. It's going to be mid-August sometime, so you probably got about 3 more weeks to get in and get signed up for a fantasy spot. You don't want to miss out by being too late. We had 4 leagues last year. We're going to try to have at least 4 again this year, or if not more. We got a Dynasty League already in progress, so that's cool for everybody who's joined. You get an extra episode every single week, an after-hours episode. That's always a good time. You get access to the private Discord. It's a good time for everybody involved. We've become really good friends with everybody in the Patreon. It's a good time for everybody. So if you're interested in stuff like that, jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. So before we jump into the episode, I just wanted to once again thank Stump Mitchell for coming on the episode with us last week. If you guys haven't seen our interview with Stump yet, make sure we have it in the full episode. You go check that out. And if you don't have time, you can also just check out just the interview. It's up on Apple, Spotify, and Google, and also on YouTube. Awesome insight into Nick Chubb and then the running back room as a whole. One thing I just want to touch on real quick before we moved on, I thought it was really interesting. Somebody actually put this in our comment section too. When he was talking about how he wants to get Nick Chubb through the entire season with no fumble. And he said through game 1 to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it like really flew under the radar during the interview, but that tells you right there in the building what the expectation is for the Browns.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say all the way through the divisional round.
Or through the end of the regular
season. He said through the Super Bowl. So that's the mindset in that building right now we have the pieces right now. It's Super Bowl time.
Yeah, which, we've been saying that. It doesn't come as a shock that that's the mindset, looking at all the moves they've made this offseason. That's what they're gearing up for. But to hear it come from somebody who's in the building, working with the players, he's on the coaching staff. Like that is awesome to hear. Well,
and I know people are going to be like, well, what else is he going to say? He's a coach of the team. He's not going to say we're going to lose early. But I also think it just speaks to culture building. The fact that he just openly talks about it. That's the goal. Everybody in the building knows that's the goal. It's just part of building that new culture in Cleveland. So I thought it flew super under the. When he said it, I picked it up, but we had a time limit with them, and
we were sweating. It was
I didn't want to.
Was crazy. I
didn't want to ramble on, and I didn't want to take up a ton of his time because he had to go do other stuff. So I just wanted to kind of address that. Be like, that's the goal. That's the Browns fans. It's no longer, we're not just happy to win a game. Hopefully we can just get to 500. That's not the goal. The goal is the Super Bowl, and it's kind of scary to say, but goals are supposed to be scary.
You sound like you're
I just
getting
got
into
real
a serious dating.
Nostradamus says, but no. So I was excited to hear that.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to address that again. If you haven't checked out that interview, I think you'll like it. Go check it out. So to start this episode, we have to talk about stuff that's not fun to talk about. Browns have released Perrion Winfrey. The guy just couldn't stay out of trouble again. He found himself in trouble again. There's a video out there. If you haven't seen it and you want to check it out, it's not exactly, I mean, I've seen worse videos, but it's still not a fun video to watch. He did it right. If you haven't seen the video, he literally is like hunting and assaulting a woman in front of the 9, like right on Euclid.
Oh man,
I don't understand. Like, what is wrong with this guy?
It's just kind of super disappointing because, especially like when you look at all the like positional groups.
Yeah,
that's like one.
Yes, a player this year.
Our expectations were he was going to take that step, and he could be a starter or at least a rotational piece. And for a guy that a lot of people liked, like we thought he was a steal and we loved the energy. I had a couple of people say, maybe that's a little too much energy. He makes me it might be a little too much. And I was like, nah, so it's just tough. I think for him, huge, like lost opportunity and maybe a reflect moment. It's tough when I was 22, 23 years old, I made some terrible decisions too. It's not like,
I feel like there's being a dumb young kid and then there's like just kind of being like a bad person. Mm-hmm. And some of the things he's doing is like, that's like what bad people do.
Yeah. And that's the most worrisome thing for him is because he's 22 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just out of college.
I know.
I mean, come on. And, it was back in April that he was arrested. I think they took him to jail. Domestic violence against his girlfriend, I believe it was.
Something like that,
Something like that. Now you've got him, claiming that these women were harassing him, like in the hotel lobby, wherever he was at, and he followed them outside. Like, dude.
Yeah, dude. But it doesn't matter if you're enticed.
Right.
Don't hit a woman.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, and tell them on video you're going to beat the crap out of them and show a gun at them. Like, come on. You're supposed to be the grown-up here. You're the professional athlete. You're the one with everything to lose. You have to be mature. So it's sad because, like we said, the guy had a chance to really make a name for himself on the team. He was going to be a guy who got time this year.
Yep.
If he could figure it out mentally. And now, I mean, who knows where his career goes from here.
Yeah, and I'm just reading on TMZ. It says Perrion's not been arrested, but he's listed as a suspect in an aggravated robbery, which is a first-degree felony.
Oops.
I don't know where that ties in with what he did with the woman here on the street on this video, but it's just all bad news for him.
Yeah, he's got to get help.
He does.
Like, and I know the Browns released him, but also at the same time, like, do they just cut ties, or are they like, hey, like, at least like slide him somebody's phone number? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I got on the Browns about that with Johnny Manziel in terms of like at some point people got to help themselves, and I get that, but I felt like the Browns could have done a better job. Like, hey, let's get this guy something. They clearly knew he was an issue, and the Browns clearly knew Perrion's got some stuff going on. So at what point do the Browns, I'm not saying they have a responsibility to babysit him, but to at least like try to get him some support. I don't know. Hopefully they didn't just cut ties. Hopefully they're doing something for him, because you hate to see like a 20-year-old kid's life just be down the tubes already when there's that much potential.
Yeah, there's bad things going on for him because, like I said, it was in April that the last incident happened, and here we are just a few months later. He was already on thin ice as it was, and something happens again, and it's like, man, that.
And again, like at some point you got to learn. Like the Browns did the right thing. He can't be on the team. He can't be on the, you know what I mean? So.
And he's lucky it didn't happen even sooner.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about should they cut him and release him last time.
Yeah.
So you knew it was the final straw. He was on thin ice as it was. And you knew it was bad last year when he just like didn't dress and stuff just because of behavioral issues, that kind of stuff. So I think he's the second Browns player now drafted by Andrew Berry to be released.
I believe so.
So
yep.
I mean, and Andrew Berry doesn't like to let his guys go.
And it sucks because this had nothing to do with his on-field performance.
Yeah, he started to flash last year. This is what we're talking about in terms of he had a chance with Za'Darius next to him and another vet to come in and kind of teach him how to be a pro. And, we drafted Ika and we got Tomlinson on the inside. There's some guys around him now where he could go in and really flash and just threw it all away. It's a bummer.
Last year, he appeared in 13 games for the Browns, 22 combined tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a half a sack.
Yeah. And I feel like most of that was second half of the season.
Yes, I agree.
So at least that's the way it felt. I can't confirm that. So that's but I didn't notice him a lot at first. Started to notice him late. So that's the way it felt.
We talked about him a lot the second half of the season.
Somebody can fact check me. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. But that's just my gut. So that was sad news. So we wanted to address that. That's some unfortunate Browns news. And then other league news: DeAndre Hopkins signs with the Titans. Was what, 2 years?
26, but it could go up to 32 with incentives.
Yeah.
So way, way, way out of the realm of anything the Browns were ever going to dangle in front of them.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking Browns were, like sub 8, and he's getting 13, 14.
13. Yep.
13 a year. I mean, good for the Titans. I guess,
Good for him.
You want to talk about a
Yeah.
team that needed a receiver badly.
For sure. Yeah.
That was definitely it.
Do you think it works there? Because a lot of people are already beating him up and being like, well, that's just another great receiver that goes to Tennessee to, Randy Moss, Julio. It's kind of like where the great receivers go to kind of just get a bag and go. But do you think it works there?
Well, a lot of people weren't talking just bag. Like, a lot of people said he's going to go somewhere where he thinks he can win. Titans aren't really in the talks for winning at all.
I'm not going to roll them out, though, because of their culture and their coach.
Yep.
I mean, talent-wise, I haven't felt like the Titans should have been relevant. They got Derrick Henry.
And the thing is, that's all they've really got, and it works. It keeps working.
2 years ago, I didn't think they were good in the number one seed in the playoffs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I
very
won't
good
rule them
team.
out either.
Vrabel is he's a great coach. He's built a culture. They're tough. They're scrappy, and they're gonna. They might go down, but you're gonna be bleeding and scratched up after you play the Titans. So,
and everybody's kind of down on Tannehill, but he had injuries last year. I think
he hasn't been a bad quarterback for them.
When he's, number one seed. When he's healthy,
and their division,
he can do what they need him to do.
I'm not saying their division's up for grabs because I think Jacksonville's obviously probably the best team in that division, but it's not a gauntlet. You know what I mean?
No.
Are we expecting the Colts to be world beaters? Probably not. Probably number one pick type stuff.
If Tennessee came out on top of that division this season, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, and we all thought he still had stuff left in the tank. So it's not like I don't think he's washed by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
We all would have been pumped to have him on the Browns.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So but it's just way more money than I was expecting him to get. But I guess then when you're the team the Browns have been this team, when that's what you need and you're really kind of desperate, sometimes you got to throw money at it. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Titans did. But I think the Browns wide receiver room is set. I think Mary Kay came out and said the Browns were never really in on him because they're happy with what they have. I'm happy with what we have.
Me too.
The room is night and day better than it was last year.
We went into the offseason worried about it, saying we got to do something about receiver. And now we came out of the offseason saying, feel pretty good about it. I like what they did.
Especially after the voluntary camps, and you heard about the connection with Elijah Moore, drafting Tillman, and I think Goodwin is an underrated signing.
Yes, big time.
You know what I mean? That's just a guy who just knows how to play the game. He just stretched the field. He's a pro. He's the kind of guy the Browns don't usually get.
Right.
Or knock on wood, we get him and he gets hurt in camp.
Thanks, Blake.
I knocked on wood before I said it. This
Speaking
is real.
of receiver,
this is mahogany.
If
This is sawdust glued together.
if you're watching this and you haven't seen Derek Frisbee's episode from last weekend on Jalen Darden, go check it out because that kid also has a shot of making the tail end of this roster, especially contributing in the return game.
I love their last year, their training camp. There are guys that were pretty much practice squad receivers like Harley, and I love some of them guys. I don't know how much of an impact they make now. They're probably practice squad guys at best, but to have that kind of depth and then you don't even see those guys out there.
It shows you the kind of turnaround the Browns have made though in the last 5-6 years is Tillman would have been drafted and expected to come in and be a day one starter guy.
Yeah.
Harley he'd be getting, 80% of the offensive snaps.
So would Anthony Schwartz.
You know what I mean? And now those guys, Tillman's going to be on the roster, but those other guys are practice squad players. Schwartz probably isn't going to be on the team.
I agree.
I would be almost shocked if he's on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw his Madden ranking. His speed is crazy. So if
He's
you're
a fast guy, but I'm sure his catching's pretty low.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter in Madden. He'll still catch everything. So if you play with the Browns in Madden, you put he'll be open deep all game.
Yep.
Because his speed is crazy. No, I'm excited for the Browns wide receiver room. So more Browns news that we want to get into. They dropped their white helmets. And they're going to wear their all white unis with those 1946
The white
throwback jerseys. This is the
From last
46, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. Okay, the 75 anniversary ones.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first
From
one,
2 years ago.
From
Is it 2 years ago? Oh, yeah, that's right.
21,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Those unis are free. First, just the white jerseys when we wore them with other stuff was awesome. But this all white look with this white helmet, it's freaking fire.
It's sweet.
It's
very nice.
It's awesome. What do you think? Do you like them?
I love them. Yeah, and I can tend to be a little picky with brown stuff, like the new Dawgs logo, for example. But or not our podcast, but the dog Browns
The dog
logo.
pound, dog
I thought it was
logo.
a little silly. These uniforms are freaking sweet. I love them.
They're so.
I got to go to at least one primetime game so I can see them.
Well, it's San Francisco or the Jets, buddy. Those are your two.
I've seen some old heads saying they don't like them. We're brown and orange, and the orange helmet. And listen, I'm not saying we should wear these for every single game, but this is the kind of stuff like it gets you up for a game almost. You know what I mean? Like the players will be pumped that they're busting out the all white unis. You know, I think it was Dion said, "Look good, play good, feel good, play
Yeah.
good."
Yep.
Yeah, they're freaking sweet.
I think last year was the first year the NFL okayed the alternate different color helmet.
Yeah.
And you saw teams automatically instantly jump on it. Like the Texans went with that like shiny red helmet.
Yep.
I mean, you know, like you said, they don't wear them every single game because that's just dumb. Then it's not a cool alternate.
Right. Yep.
So that's why 3 games, this is great. And I was just going to read the history just because I thought it was interesting. The Browns actually wore a white helmet the first 6 years they were in existence before they shifted full-time to the orange helmet in 52. They won 4 All-American Football Conference championships with that helmet in their first 4 years, and they carried that success with the helmet over to the franchise's first year in the NFL in 1950 when it won the league championship. So,
It's good luck.
I mean, we started with white helmets. I mean, to go with the throwback jerseys and everything, I think this is pretty sweet.
Bengals fans. Miss me with this. You copied us. First of all, we had white helmets before you were ever a franchise.
We were a team before you were ever a team.
Yeah. And second, you're not the only team that gets to have a white helmet.
I'm pretty sure the Colts have a white helmet.
Yeah, like there's
Always.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Cardinals have a white helmet.
Yeah, I don't understand like this. You copied us because you have a white helmet. Like you don't have the copyright or whatever on white helmets.
Yeah.
On the color white.
This is just AFC North hatred. Like
Dolphins have a white helmet.
No matter what happens,
The Bills have
They're
a
gonna
white
feel like
helmet.
that.
I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Jets used to have a white helmet. Like,
Fair.
come on, guys.
yeah.
I don't even think the jerseys are really like that. The helmet, people are like, they copied us. They don't even look alike. They still have the Bengal stripes and whatnot.
See,
It looks nothing
theirs
alike.
is like a white color rush of their new jerseys.
Yeah. Mhm.
Their new uniforms.
Yep.
Ours is a throwback to the original, like, team,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, they're freaking sick.
It's a completely different concept. It just happens to be a similar color.
And you know the game when they bust those guys out at home and it's a big game, like a big night game.
Steelers week 2, Monday night.
No, so I thought maybe I'm missing this, but isn't that game in Pittsburgh?
It is.
It is.
Okay, which that's
I was bummed because
That's
all
great.
the primetime home games are going to be all cold weather.
it's okay.
I was really hoping for like an early season home game, but I might go to Pittsburgh though.
I'm thinking about the Dawgs podcast should consider doing a live stream that night.
Okay.
Week 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know I can, but how about the working boys over here?
There's no rules.
it's football season.
I just go,
I don't work 12s anymore.
So
Yeah.
are we kind of making that announcement right now?
We're thinking about it. I haven't listened.
Yeah.
I'm not the boss of my own life.
No,
Okay.
me either. Absolutely
I have
not.
I have to go home and ask the boss if this is okay.
Write the contract.
Yeah, yeah. What am I going to give up? What
Talk
am
to
I
the
gonna
lawyer.
get in return?
Yeah, yeah,
You know. But I know you guys enjoy the live streams. We did Deshaun's first game last year. We can't do week 1 this year because they're home and Justin has season tickets. But I think like the first Browns-Steelers matchup of the year, week on a night game primetime, I think that'd be a pretty cool game.
We will be in the new studio for that.
Yeah.
Unless something goes horribly wrong.
I got points at work. Let's go.
Yeah, so let us know what you got. If you guys want a live stream for that game, let us know. And I'll ask my boss, a.k.a. my wife.
And she'll say yes until it's time to actually do it.
We'll see.
This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, summer's in full swing, and you know what that means. Temperatures are hot, grills are hot, and the deals are even hotter at Omaha Steaks. Right now, get the Hotter Than Fire package at omahasteaks.com. America's original butcher is heating up the summer with blazing hot deals on mouthwatering grilling favorites, guaranteed to tantalize your taste buds. Go to omahasteaks.com right now, enter code DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, into the search bar, and for a limited time, you can score 32 delicious grilling essentials, including 12 free burgers from Omaha Steaks for just $99.99. You'll get 4 of their world-famous fork tender filet mignons, 4 air-chilled boneless chicken breasts, 4 boneless pork chops, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, and so much more for 62% off the regular price. The Hotter Than Fire pack is your chance to score unreal savings on unrivaled quality from America's original butcher. Right now, go to omahasteaks.com, use code DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, in the search bar to order today. This exclusive offer is only available for a limited time. You're not going to want to miss this. Get your grilling essentials now for the rest of your summer barbecues. Hurry over to omahasteaks.com, code DAWGS, in the search bar, Hotter Than Fire pack. Get all 32 grilling items for just $99.99. That includes your 12 free burgers. Remember, omahasteaks.com, code DAWGS, in the search bar.
Well, we'll use that to segue. It's not really a segue, but we're going to use it anyways. So this past week or week and a half or so, NFL players, executives, front office guys, GMs, they came up with top 10 for every position in the league. And we thought it's about time. So we're going to go through the running back, wide receivers, tight ends, give you our thoughts. We're going to start with the running back because finally Nick Chubb's getting his flowers.
Yes.
The players, coaches, executives have ranked Nick Chubb as the number 1 running back in the NFL. He was number 3 last year. We've been screaming it for years, for a couple years now. I think he's been the best running back in the league the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of Derrick Henry stands out there who have been telling me I was wrong, but I wasn't.
You know what's crazy too is we always were like, he'll never be able to get that kind of work like that Derrick Henry carry count. He kind of did. He kind of did last year.
The thing is, though, with
sure.
Nick Chubb and Stump Mitchell talked about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the 300-plus
Right.
carries to lead the league in rushing.
It's just crazy.
I mean, he's talking about the efficiency and reducing his workload and still leading the league in rushing, which that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
So this says Chubb finally gets his due atop the rankings after an impressive 5-year run in Cleveland. Since entering the NFL in 2018, he's averaged 5.2 yards per rush, best in the NFL, and second best mark in NFL history among players with at least 1,000 rushes behind Jamal Charles' 5.4 clip. I feel like people forget how good prime Jamal Charles was.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy league winner.
Yeah. He also led the NFL in explosive rushing plays, 23 in 2022. Executive says, an AFC executive says, I've always loved his game. He can carry the load, strong, has vision, great feet. Not outstanding in the pass game, but can do it. I think Nick Chubb can do more in the pass game than anybody's ever given him credit for, and rumor has it we're going to see that this year. So I don't think it's necessarily that he's not outstanding. I just think it hasn't been asked of him.
Well, Stump Mitchell said we gave Kareem the third down role.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, Nick didn't, we took it. We let Kareem have that.
Yeah, because we had him.
Yeah, so why not?
Yeah,
exactly.
It says just a damn good player, not a make you miss guy, but a power and instincts. Which is funny he says that because I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and find the stat, but I'm pretty sure Nick Chubb led the league in like forced missed tackles, and I'm not talking about breaking tackles. I'm talking about in like make you miss.
Yeah, open
scenarios.
field.
Open field.
We've seen him juke a guy and then stiff arm a guy in the same run.
Yeah, so Nick Chubb's the best running back in football.
What were you going to say, John?
I just like he has just the power to break through things too, because he also led the league in like yards after first contact, I think.
Oh yeah.
So not necessarily making somebody miss, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He's powerful.
The rest of the top 10 is Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley. Is Josh Jacobs even on a team? Oh, he's still on the Raiders. Okay.
Yeah, they franchise tagged him.
He's holding out.
He's
right
going to
now.
hold out, though.
Saquon, who's also talking about like he might hold out.
Correct, yep.
Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Tony Pollard, and Austin Eckler. Some honorable mentions are Aaron Jones, Damian Pierce, Breece Hall, and Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, and Kenneth Walker. Any surprises in terms of who's on the list or position?
Yes.
Well,
What do you got?
You want to go ahead, John?
I was just going to say, when I look at the honorable mentions, I think they got the top 10 right.
Okay.
But for me, Cook's probably a little higher, and Eckler's probably a little higher.
I would say Eckler needs to probably be up. I would honestly make the argument you could have Eckler damn near top 5. I mean, my God, he's for what he's
They
done
have
the last 2
stat here,
years.
38 scrimmage touchdowns, which is 12
more.
than any other
Yeah.
player.
So I would have him up higher.
And Jonathan Taylor maybe down 1 or 2.
Just because of last year. Only because of last year. And I mean, honestly, he was poised to be the kind of the number 1 guy for a long time. And then last year, you know, a guy that I think has a chance and kind of probably should be in the top 10 or close to it. I know he got honorable mention, but Travis Etienne's a savage.
Yeah,
I
don't think
he
he's
could-
done anywhere near enough to be considered a top 10 back.
I kind of agree with Blake on that.
What's he done?
He was almost 1,200 yards last year, and just so he missed a year because of injury, came in, became the guy after week 2 or 3, and ran for damn near 1,200 yards. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but I don't think it's top 10 in the league good. Who on this list would you take his spot?
I mean, it sucks because it's like, are we doing this off of last year, or are we doing this on what this year should be?
I'm doing it just based on, like, if you had to pick a running back, who's better?
I think Aaron Jones should still be in that top 10 list.
Yeah, that's fair.
And this is not the thing is, I'm so in the fantasy mindset right now because it's that season. But like, I'm trying to separate from that. Aaron Jones has done so much for the Packers, and he still can. He still does.
Yep.
He hasn't hit that cliff. He's not dropped off. I think that he's going to be leaned on very heavily this year.
I would think so.
I think I would put him in there over Tony Pollard because Tony Pollard has always been a backup. He's had 1 year, and he still hasn't had a year where he's been the guy. Aaron Jones has been the guy for many years.
Yeah.
I think ETN could be a top 10 back next year.
Okay. That's fair.
I just think this would be too soon.
Too soon?
I'm not saying
Too
he's a
much too
scrub.
soon?
I don't
That's
want
kinda
like
like
any Jacksonville fans to jump on me. And
What's up with that, man?
Yeah.
I'm looking at like Breece Hall in the honorable mentions.
Breece
Great
Hall.
running back. He's got a huge, awesome, big future. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 right now because he's only played part of last year, and we just don't
I'd
know.
be curious to see if he didn't get injured last year, what he would have put up, because he was on a like steamroller type pace to he was on his way. He's the offensive rookie of the year.
I would have Dalvin Cook on here. I know he's a free agent. I would have him possibly like at 4 or 5.
If he's on the team and he's the number 1, yes, he's still that good.
Yeah, I think he's crazy good.
Didn't miss a game last year. But I think that was the first time in a while.
Yeah, like if obviously we have the number 1 running back, but if say Nick Chubb didn't exist, I would take Dalvin Cook in a heartbeat. I feel like there's a lot of teams out there who could use a Dalvin Cook. He can catch the ball in the screen game. He runs. I mean,
I'll be shocked if he doesn't end up in Miami. And if he's in Miami, they're already a dangerous offense. But wow,
yeah.
Thanks.
So Saquon at 4. I guess he had a bounce back year. I think Derrick Henry at 5. I mean,
That's wild, right?
yeah,
weird. That seems low.
It does.
Jonathan Taylor at 6. I don't know.
He kind of lives off of one season.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And Barkley, I mean, was struggle with some injuries. He's a stud every time he's healthy. If he's healthy for a whole season.
I'd agree with you there. His rookie year and last year, he looked pretty damn good.
It says this NFL executive says he's got top end speed and can get to tough yards, but he's not a creative guy who can do it on his own. He needs it blocked up, then he can make it happen. Which I guess at some point, like you can say that for just about any running back.
Yeah.
If you're not getting any kind of blocking, you're not going to do much as a running back. We've seen Nick Chubb have bad games because the Browns' offensive line is in shambles. Yeah. But like at some point, the holes aren't going to be huge. It's a small crease. We've seen Nick Chubb make a cutback on a small crease and take it to the house. I don't know. I think Jonathan Taylor, he had that great year. and it's just, I don't know.
His situation kind of sucks too.
I mean,
'cause the team sucks.
Obviously we can only go on what guys have done in the past. Alvin Kamara should be higher than Jonathan Taylor. Alvin Kamara has been an absolute one of those guys that teams are afraid to play again. You know, they got a scheme for him because.
Yeah, but if I had to pick right now, I don't know if I'd have Alvin. I don't know. I guess it's maybe recency bias, but he was not very good last year. I feel like.
I don't feel like the Saints offense was very good though.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Some of these guys had down years, and we gotta see how they bounce back. Tony Pollard could blow up this year
For sure.
Could. Absolutely. And then he would be in the top 10 for me.
So we'll see what happens. But that was the running backs. We wanted to touch on them first because Nick Chubb, obviously, don't come in our comments telling us that he's not the best running back in football, because he is. And that's not just us saying it. That's coaches, scouts, front office, executives, players, all that good stuff. So then we're going to move on here to the wide receivers. And I put tight ends on my list, but I didn't mean tight ends earlier. I meant quarterbacks.
What?
Yeah. So a little bit of a shakeup. Number one here, it's Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, and C.D. Lamb. Some honorable mentions: Debo, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith. What do you guys think of this list? Any shockers?
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that Terry McLaurin made the top 10.
Yeah, to me, honestly,
Over guys like, I think Jalen Waddle probably has shown that he's a more elite receiver than Terry McLaurin just in 2 seasons.
I'd agree with you. I mean, Terry's nice. Don't get me wrong, but
I like Debo more than Terry.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like Debo a lot.
Debo's just a tough nose. Just
And
fun to watch.
I think it's not just his versatility in the run game and stuff. I think he's a really freaking good wide receiver. Like that guy is.
I think it's
next level.
It's weird that Mike Evans didn't make this list, considering he's never had
Under 1,000
yards in a season. And he's played, 9 or something, 8 or 9? How many seasons has it been now?
That's crazy.
Hey, it says that
Nine consecutive.
Samuel remains one of the tougher evaluations on the list because many teams classify him as a weapon more than a pure receiver. So, yeah, that's kind of. I was thinking top 10 for Devo. And again, like Josh said, maybe it's the fantasy football thing.
No, I've watched some San Francisco games, and like this says, you game plan against him. That's what an executive says. I think it's super funny that Mike Evans isn't in the top 10, and then the article in the first sentence says one of the game's most underrated receivers. You had a chance to rate him properly.
Nobody failed.
Yeah.
That's super.
Maybe that was somebody who voted for him in the top 10, writing that and was like, well, this sucks. He's so underrated.
Yeah. I would probably have Mike Evans above Terry. And I'm not, no disrespect to Terry McLaurin. I think he's really good and Ohio State guy, but I like Mike Evans a lot. I think like 1 through 6 though, this list is pretty freaking solid.
I was gonna say the
tough
same
to-
thing. 1 through 6, they nailed it.
I look at
think
all
1
of them
through
and I
7.
go, some of these guys can go up, down, like Cooper Kupp. I know their team's probably not going to be very good next year, but Stafford's got to throw the ball to somebody,
It's gonna be him.
and it's going to be him a lot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all if at the end of the year Cooper Kupp was an easy top 3 receiver. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
I'm obviously not going to go. It's tough to go, hey, I'd rather have Kupp than, let's say, Devontae Adams or Justin
And I
Jefferson.
know.
You know what I mean?
Tyreek Hill really put to rest all the claims that he was only good with
Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes. Yeah, absolutely.
So he's definitely top 4 or 5. So I think they got the top 6 or 7 spot on.
Are you surprised Devontae slipped?
No,
Because-
not big.
because I
there's
know-
always going to be a little recency bias in these lists.
He was ranked number 1 last year, and then all he did last year was have a career high in yards and led the league in touchdowns for a wide receiver for the second time in 3 seasons, and then he slipped to 2.
yeah, I mean,
So-
But
I think that there's definitely, what is it, like a 7-year age difference between him and Jefferson. And Jefferson has gone 1,400, 1,600, 1,800 yards in his first 3 seasons.
And last year he went crazy.
And, and he's like still ascending in this off. I think they got that right.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, you actually bring up a very good point, but Jefferson.
If you had to pick right now, if they said you get one wide receiver and it's between Jefferson or Devontae Adams, don't take age into the factor. Just assume like it's for 1 year. Who are you taking?
I would take Jefferson.
Who's your quarterback? So I feel like if it's Aaron Rodgers, him and Devontae Adams.
Well, now we're talking different. Yeah.
Well, let's just say it's Deshaun.
If it's Jimmy Garoppolo,
he's coming to Cleveland. Which one are you picking?
Crazy too is that Justin Jefferson's put up those kind of numbers with a quarterback that a ton of people say is garbage.
Yeah.
I don't think he's garbage. I actually saw some videos that said he's maybe the most underrated quarterback in the league.
He's one of the most accurate for sure.
Yeah, but a lot of people consider Kirk Cousins trash, and
I think it's just because of the not being able to win the big game.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it has anything to do with his ability to play the position.
Well, he's not trash, but that's just silly.
But no. So anybody else on the?
Speaking of Kirk Cousins, I know we're going to roll into quarterbacks. You guys watch that quarterback show on Netflix?
Bro, the whole entire thing.
Okay,
it's
I haven't started it yet. I heard
it's
it was
fantastic.
Awesome. Okay,
it's once you get into it.
I want to watch it.
I might be starting that tomorrow. Then
I've been working my way through Secret Invasion, but I'm almost caught up.
I got to catch up. I've watched one episode.
So
you like Jamar Chase at 3. It kind of sucks he's in the division.
Yeah.
Because he's very freaking good.
Yes.
I mean,
I owe a trophy to Jamar Chase, honestly. And Justin knows.
Yeah, whatever.
Justin knows very well.
now I do.
Go to hell.
I know this is going to come off as like homerism. I really do think Amari Cooper should at least be in the honorable mentions because he is just he's kind of like Nick Chubb at the receiver position. He just puts his head down, goes to work, does his job, and he does it at a very high level.
So he did receive votes, Amari Cooper, but he didn't make it into the honorable mention. I really like Devontae Smith, but I would take, at least based on like production and stuff right now, Amari Cooper.
It is kind of crazy. Keenan Allen only got receiving votes. He wasn't even honorable mention.
He's just getting older.
So, and Garrett Wilson's going to be really good.
Garrett Wilson's going to be very, very good.
No, I think I agree. I think Amari Cooper could be in the honorable mentions, but at some point you have to draw the line. I wonder how many votes he did get. He's kind of a conundrum because like we watched him play last year and he's great, but it's just for some reason maybe it's because he's not one of these go up and get it guys. You can't just like high point the ball to him or whatever. He's not like a burn past you guy. He's not Justin Jefferson in that. You know what I mean? He's like a tactician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, where do you put that? We're happy to have him.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He's
super pumped.
Yep. So then we're going to move on to the quarterbacks. Let's see what we got here.
I got some beef at 1.
Beef
I'm
at
just
1.
Yeah. So it goes Patrick Mahomes, super surprised. Joe Burrow at 2.
Okay.
Which is was he 1? No, it says highest ranking 1. When was he 1?
Highest ranking out of this, the people that voted, the highest he got ranked was 1. The lowest anybody ranked was 6.
Okay.
Last year he was 5.
Okay, I was very confused. I was like, when was he 1? Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, the guy who was almost a runaway MVP last year.
Needs to be up way higher.
He was
Yes.
6. Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence. My biggest gripe is at 9 and 10. Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford. Honorable mentions: Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, and Tua.
And I guess my biggest beef is 8, 9, and 10.
Who was it? 8?
Trevor Lawrence.
You think he should be up higher?
Sucked. Absolutely horrendous his rookie season. Had a pretty nice bounce back season last year.
And you're saying, what's going on?
Why is he above Deshaun Watson, who has never had a down full season?
Well, he did miss like 3 seasons, Josh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I'm
let's
not
be
gonna
real
now
here,
you sound
brother.
like Twitter. He missed
Let's
1
be
season.
reasonable here, brother.
I'm not expecting Deshaun to be top 10 until he plays a full season again
Yeah.
as a top 10 guy.
And so,
That's where I'm
he
at.
threw for 4,113 yards, 25. I mean, he had an over 2-to-1 interception ratio, threw for 4,000 yards last year, and led a 20-point comeback in the playoffs.
That was a good game.
The first thing I see that I don't like, Justin already brought it up, Jalen Hurts is not number 6.
He needs to be 2 or 3.
I know.
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
I'm not taking Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow or Josh Allen.
I'm taking him over Rodgers.
I would take him
now,
over
probably.
Josh Allen.
No way.
Are you serious?
That's the biggest recency bias.
No?
Get out of town.
Bro.
Get out of town.
And so if you're doing a fantasy draft and you have the option to take Joe Burrow, or let's say even you're starting a franchise.
Yeah, because this is not fantasy football. This is
no. So if you're
I'm thinking 4 personally.
4?
Yeah, I mean Rodgers is very old. He's awesome. He's the best aside from Mahomes. He's the best quarterback on this list.
Yeah.
At his prime.
Okay.
But he's old, and I probably would take Hurts over Justin Herbert. Maybe 6 isn't as bad as I thought.
You have to think about that. Jalen Hurts over Herbert.
I have to think about everything.
They gave him a weapon, man, and he exploded. If he didn't get hurt, he would have won the MVP, or at least it would have been.
The thing is, Justin Herbert, though, he almost had 5,000 yards, I think, as a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm starting a franchise, I would take Justin Herbert.
It's not like Jalen Hurts is an old man.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying.
But it's not like Justin Herbert's old.
And this
I'm not saying that either.
My preference would be and this is just me personally, if I was starting a franchise and I want my quarterback, I don't want a guy who relies on his legs as much as those guys do. I want a guy that can beat you and dice you up with his arm.
So that's not where I'm concerned.
Jalen Hurts did that last year.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? He was that guy last year. They got him a weapon. He blew up, man.
Let me pull some
stats. Let
me pull some stats.
I'm
not saying he's bad.
He grows a passer every year.
Anyway.
He had 66.4 rating the last year or two. I'm reading this. It doesn't say anything about his passing yards.
The only thing I'm going to say is this.
3,700.
If you're leaving Deshaun off the top 10 because he hasn't played in the last couple seasons, shouldn't Lamar Jackson be honorable mention?
No,
he got hurt back-to-back seasons.
I just didn't know if I felt like going there.
I'm not saying if we're just talking talent, raw talent, Lamar's top 5, easy. But I mean, he got hurt the last 2 seasons. So are we going based off of production, or is this just an entirely speculative list?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He's top 1 in running, and I think he's like bottom 10 in throwing. So
That's fair.
But we'll see. No, my biggest gripe here, Dak's not a top 10 quarterback to me.
You're right.
If Dak isn't not to me, then Kirk Cousins should be 8.
That's fair. And if Tua stays healthy, I think Tua should be higher up.
And as much Matthew Stafford's 2 years removed from going to the Super Bowl, throwing for like 5,000 yards or something. But doesn't it just kind of feel like I don't know, maybe it's because he was so beat up last year, but it almost feels like he's done.
It feels like that.
You know what I mean? I know maybe this year, maybe he's healthy and he's going to come back and they're going to be awesome again. But I just get the sense like he went there, he got his Super Bowl, and now it's just kind of like he's done.
The team's kind of in disarray. They're kind of, they kind of mortgaged it all for that Super Bowl.
And I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. Like I wanted the Browns to go after him. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of all the injuries and how down he was last year. But so I think Deshaun Watson will be in the top 10 next year. I think he'll be in the top 6 next year.
Who played better though before having an injury last year? Lamar Jackson or Tua?
I would say Tua probably.
Tua was going to be MVP.
Oh, Tua was balling out.
Going to be MVP?
That's what a lot of people thought. Dude, those first 4 weeks of the season, he was going just
crazy.
A freak, man.
He was going crazy.
I will give you that. You can't really tell where he would have ended up had he not gotten injured because he was getting better.
He missed 4 games and still ended up with 3,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions.
And he came back scared. that was the scariest injury other than him.
Yeah, if you're talking about potentially retiring at 25 years old or whatever he is, 24.
So not to nitpick Lamar here, but they put him at number 7 in the league. Okay, last year he was outside the top 10. So what did he do last year to then move him up into the top 10 besides end the season injured again?
That's a good point.
You know
so
what
he
I
was
mean?
out of the top 10 last season?
Yes.
Then he shouldn't be in there on this
I agree.
list.
He got
last year he was an honorable mention. Okay, and then last year he was hurt for most of the year, and they put him in the top 10, which makes no sense.
Yeah, Justin, I think is right. It's that contract that just people felt obligated.
Well, and it says this is from the article, which makes me. Evaluators also saw attempts at growth as a passer.
Attempts.
So if you're,
Is that what it says?
That's what it says.
Oh, I got to read this
Just
now.
Fowler. Somebody needs to check in on
So
Fowler.
if you're trying real hard, he takes that into consideration.
That is super funny.
Jackson's rushing attempts per game were down from 11.08 to 9.33. Yeah, his QBR improved from 56.8 to 59. It went up not even 3 points. You know what I mean? And then it says prior to the knee injury, he was doing some big things from the pocket as a passer. Yet questions about his precision passing remain. Jackson's 19% off target rate was highest among any quarterback nominated for this. 19% off target rate.
Yeesh.
That puts him in categories of Justin Fields, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, and Davis Mills.
Oh my gosh. That's a bad list, but just being in the same list as Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Justin Fields almost broke Lamar's rushing record. So why isn't he? If Lamar's number 7, Justin Fields should be number 8.
I didn't realize his passing was that bad. You guys hearing this out there? Those are stats.
Yeah. I'm not making that up. I'm reading that from the article. This is supposed to be defending his reason for being in the top 10.
Yep.
We put him in top 10 because we're not that great at passing, but
We see him trying.
he's trying hard every time.
Yeah. Now,
That is super funny how that was worded.
now
He's trying
again,
to
nobody's
get
going to
better.
ignore that he wins a lot of games because he controls the ball with his legs. It's hard to get him off the field.
Yeah.
But, man,
And this list doesn't exclude, this isn't like a when healthy list. That's not what they're considering. So if it were,
And my favorite thing
then
about
Lamar, sure. Yeah, he's in the top 10, but
favorite thing about those stats, the stats that say he's just not that strong of a passer, is this year they're going to pass more.
yeah.
Yes.
Todd Monken and Odell finally
Air raid.
Like, give me a break. So, no, those are. I'm not mad Deshaun's not in the top 10.
Right.
He hasn't played a full season since 21, and the 6 games he played last year were not good. So
He hasn't played a full season. Well, okay, I guess
since 20 or 20. whatever it
2020
was.
season was a full season.
So the fact that I was honestly kind of surprised they got honorable mention.
Well, it even said in the write-up that it felt wrong to leave him off the top 10, but it didn't feel right to put him in it. Like, he's kind of on that cusp.
Yeah, so
that's why he was the first honorable mention. And the one thing that was worded in there I thought was kind of dumb, it says he's only played 6 games in the last 2 years. I'm like, but he had a whole year off. So he only played 6 games in the last season. It just, the way it was worded made it sound like he's missed multiple games and multiple seasons. Not true.
No. So that's the list. I've seen him have worse lists, honestly.
Yeah.
The wide receiver one was, I think, pretty spot on. The quarterback one had a couple. I don't want to say I'm a Dak Prescott hater because I think he does good things for the Cowboys, but he is not top 10. He's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins and Dak are interchangeable. Honestly, if you told me I had to pick one, I would probably take Kirk Cousins. Because the knock on Kirk Cousins is he doesn't win the big game. What big games has Dak won?
Right. That's
None.
fair. That's fair.
You know?
They're one
Kirk-
and the same.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is a more accurate passer. He comes from behind literally all the time. Yeah, I would take Kirk Cousins over Dak. I
think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I always have. Yeah.
So, well, that's pretty much the episode for today.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's kind of like a big letdown. I mean, when you have last week you have a Browns coach on, and the next week it's just us, and it's like, oh, this sucks. So, but hopefully we kept it entertaining for you guys. Hopefully you guys liked it. Again, make sure you guys are staying tuned with us the next few weeks because we're not going to tell you anything because, you know, it's not concrete and we don't want to count our chickens before they hatch or however it goes, but potentially some really cool things in the works for us. And I think you guys are going to really like. So make sure you guys are, you know, checking in with us weekly. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you have that notification bell tapped. Again, before we get out of here, if you want to play fantasy football with us this year, jump in the dog pack, join thedawgs.com and get signed up for a fantasy league. It's a ton of fun. We give away a bunch of merch. Everybody likes playing fantasy football with us.
And I was going to say, winners this year are going to get, like, I'm going to design actual champion shirt. So it's going to say Dog Pack Fantasy Champion.
Can't wait to
awesome.
see my
Gonna
name
have
on that
the year
championship
and
shirt.
everything. Like it's going to be a cool. I haven't done it yet, but that's what you're going to win.
And we gave, the way we did it last year too is so like a winner of every league gets one, and then we did like a playoff bracket of everybody in every league, and we compared scores. So then there's like an overall champion. So even if you were out of it, you were still in it to win something.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. Hopefully we can have even more leagues this year. So if you want to play fantasy with us, make sure you check that out at jointhedogs.com. Well, until that. Again, let us know in the comments what you guys think of some of these lists, and let us know what you think of those uniforms, because we all think they're pretty sweet. And actually, before I get out of here, Lee Shelko wanted me to say,
Yes, I forgot
the
to.
Honolulu Browns backers approved the new uniforms.
He said 2 thumbs up. Yep.
So I didn't want to forget Lee. He's awesome. So again, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.